you will burn more total calories throughout the day from general movement than you will from your workouts. Walking helps to lower your stress and helps to lower your cortisol. Like, think about it like this. If you're having a stressful meeting or you've had a stressful long day and you go for like a 10 to 15 minute walk, that can lower your cortisol levels and help reset your mood. Yo, you guys, what's up? Hey everyone, welcome back to the Macro Hour with Nikkiey Stott, co-founder of WarriorBabe. And on this podcast, we talk about mindset, methodologies, and tactics that will help you lose body fat, build muscle, be strong, and feel insanely confident. I am your host, Nikkiey Stott, and welcome to today's episode number 238. And today we're going to talk about what I believe to be one of the most underrated tools for fat loss and for recovery and for a multitude of different things for your overall like health and well-being. And that is walking. Yeah, plain old walking. Just going on walks, moving around throughout the day, walking. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, I've heard this before. I've seen it go around the fitness industry. People are saying walk more. Or maybe some of you guys will be like, wait, walking? Really? That's it? That's the secret? Can't be that easy. Listen, I totally get it. We're constantly told that like fat loss requires so much, like intense workouts. It requires hardcore training. It requires sweating buckets at the gym and being in a certain, calorie deficit and all of those things. And what if I told you guys that like one of the most powerful tools for long-term fat loss and your metabolic health isn't just like focusing on yet another intense workout. It's just simply moving your body more throughout the day. Like it literally doesn't have to be that complicated. And I think that's what the fitness industry does really, 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 really well, is they make it seem like the secret sauce to you getting the results that you want with fat loss and getting the toned body of your dreams has to be this like E = MC squared and type of equation. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. So today, what I want to talk to you guys is one, I want to talk about like why walking? Like, why is it so effective for fat loss? And then I want to talk to you guys about like how walking compares to traditional cardio and some of the benefits of walking beyond just like weight loss. And then obviously like giving you guys some tactical takeaways, of which I love to do in the episodes with you guys, is how you can add more steps in your day without like totally turning your routine upside down. So if you guys are struggling with fat loss, if you guys are feeling like run down because you're overtraining and you're just like, oh, I got to get to the gym today to get my another workout done this week. Or maybe you're just like, I'm just looking for a simple way to just start improving my health. Then this is for you. Okay. So let's dive into it. First, let's talk about why walking is such an effective tool for fat loss. I think that most people think that fat loss comes from like crushing in the gym. It comes from doing hours and hours and hours of cardio. It comes from eating in a calorie deficit. And while yes, like all of those things are important and they matter, workouts, nutrition, like they 100% matter. But what gets overlooked is, and I don't know if you guys have heard of this before, maybe you have, maybe it's definitely a term that's used very much so in the fitness industry, or if you ever worked with a trainer, more so I think you would hear it if you're working with a trainer. And it's called NEAT. I definitely talked about this on episodes before, but that's non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And so what that is it's basically all the movement that you do outside of your structured exercise, like your structured workout. Like it is you walking around your house. It is you pacing while you're on the phone. You can't see me if you're just listening to audio, but I'm like, I talk with my hands. I'm fidgeting. It's cleaning. It's taking the stairs instead of taking the elevator. And what I think what will blow your mind is when you guys think of it like this. NEAT it will actually account for like more calorie burn than your workouts do. So let me repeat that in a different way. You will burn more total calories throughout the day from general movement than you will from your workouts. Put it into this perspective too as well. If you're just like only focusing on 1 hour gym sessions, but you're sitting the rest of the day, you are missing out on a massive opportunity when it comes to fat loss. You're missing out on this extra added tool if you could just get up and do a walk, like a 10-minute walk, or even if you're just standing, and at a desk or whatever it is. If you can add some of those things I just said into your routine every single day, like that will greatly benefit you. Because if you're just like, oh, I have to get a workout in, but then you sit for the rest of the day. I'm just saying, like, there's so much room for you to be able to improve on your journey if you start to incorporate more of this. So what I also want to kind of break down with you guys is what is the difference between walking versus like traditional cardio, because a lot of people think like, if walking burns calories, wouldn't it be better if I was doing more like intense cardio instead? And not necessarily. And this is the reason why. One is walking burns fat without spiking stress hormones. So think about it, like, what does high intensity workouts do? And like long cardio sessions, what do? They will spike your cortisol levels. They will spike your stress hormone. And when cortisol is constantly elevated, as we talked about in the last episode, which I would highly recommend that you guys go and listen to, because I broke down basically like you could be doing everything right. You could be crushing your workouts. You could be crushing your nutrition. You could be crushing your sleep, but you're still feeling like you're stuck. And that could be because you're in like a chronic state of stress, which a lot of us are, from our day-to-day, from responsibilities, and then, X, Y, and Z that gets added to it. So definitely go check that out, because as we learned in that episode, if you listen to it, high intensity exercise and things like this will continue to add more stress to your body, which is in the episode I said is a good thing. There's a multitude of other things that is increasing your cortisol. But anyway, when cortisol is constantly elevated, it will make fat loss harder, especially around your midsection. Walking, on the other hand, it burns calories and it encourages fat loss without overloading your body with stress. So think about it like that. Like, walking will burn fat without spiking your stress hormone. That's why I would recommend, like, if you are just getting into fitness and you're just like, I'm looking for some sign right now that's going to help me make it super simple to just start doing something, this is your sign. Walk more. Go walk for 10 to 15 minutes today, then tomorrow, then the next day, and just see that more neat movement throughout your day is going to help to start to facilitate fat loss. Another thing on top of like how walking burns fat without spiking your stress hormones is walking will help to preserve muscle while you are in a deficit. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make when they're trying to lose fat is they're overdoing cardio. They're constantly running miles. They're constantly doing the Stairmaster. They're on the elliptical. Like, they're prioritizing. And I did this in an episode a couple of weeks ago, which was so good. It was one of my favorite ones I've recorded, where 97% of society, and I saw this on Instagram, thinks that it's cardio, workouts, and nutrition, when it is the exact opposite. It's nutrition, workout, cardio, and cardio should just be a tool. So, and in terms of fat loss, but so many people think that it's like, I need to go, if I want to lose fat, I need to overdo my cardio. And along the way, what happens when you're overdoing your cardio, when you're in a deficit, is you are losing muscle along the way, because think of it like this, not because, but think of it like this, like muscle equals you having a higher metabolism. More muscle means that you burn more calories even while you're at rest. Walking allows you to stay active and burn fat without breaking down muscle. Hey, while you're listening, if you're getting value from this episode, take a moment to tap that review button or share this podcast with a friend. It's a small gesture that goes a long way in helping more women find their way to feeling stronger and more confident in their skin. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to support this show. Majority of the time when I'm working or have worked with clients in the past, I know that some of our WarriorBabe coaches do this, depending on the individual that they're working with. A woman will be in a calorie deficit to help facilitate fat loss, but you, depending on the individual, will most likely see at the beginning of that individual's journey that we're just focusing on getting like 8 to 10K steps a day, depending on where they're at, even with their steps. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but it doesn't have to be like this, like you need to do cardio 5 days a week on top of your training. You can just do your training and then you can focus on getting X amount of steps in the day. And then one thing else too is that walking is so sustainable. Like you can do it every single day. Cause I mean, if you're anything like me, like let's be real, nobody wants to do HIIT 5 times a week forever, right? It's kind of like thinking about keto. It's like nobody wants to eliminate carbs for the rest of their life forever, right? And so in that regard, macros is sustainable. And in this regard, walking is sustainable. You don't have to do HIIT 5 times a week, but walking, you can do it daily without feeling exhausted or without feeling you're burnt out. And that's the key to fat loss, sustainability, and every single strategy that you use when it comes to strength training, when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to sleep, when it comes to cardio, like it should always be a question that you ask yourself. If whether you're joining us at WarriorBabe or whether you're joining another program, it should be, is this going to be sustainable? And why? Just for a little bit of an addition to this topic that we're on, why does it need to be sustainable? Because it's something that you can do long term. And I want to rewrite like the whole diet narrative and everything that's in the fitness space of like, get this in 30 days, 60 days, which still happens, or all of these GPL, whatever pill injections. Like it bogs my mind. Is that sustainable? No. So that should always be the question that you ask yourself. Fat loss is great, right? But what walking does is so much more. It does so much more for the body than just burning calories. Like walking helps to lower your stress and helps to lower your cortisol. Like think about it like this. If you're having a stressful meeting or you've had a stressful long day and you go for like a 10 to 15 minute walk, that can lower your cortisol levels and help reset your mood. Once it gets warmer here, at least in Philly, it's like, cool, I get to go. Last summer, I don't know if you guys remember, if you follow me on Instagram, I would get out with Maverick every morning and go knock out like 8,000 steps right first thing in the morning. And I love doing that because I'm outside, which is 1,000% better. And it shows that research shows that walking in nature can reduce your anxiety and improve your mental health by a long shot. On top of that, how it lowers stress and cortisol is that it improves your digestion. Have you guys ever heard I know this was being talked about a couple months ago, but basically whenever you have a meal, right, or you have a big meal, what happens there is it can spike your blood sugar, but at the same time, it can also make you feel bloated. It can make you feel sluggish. And have you ever noticed that like after you have that big meal, you go out for a walk, how you don't feel as bloated or sluggish after like a 30-minute walk? Because it helps to stimulate your digestion and it helps to reduce bloating. So like a pro tip, like 10 to 15 minutes after you have a big meal, it will help to stabilize your blood sugar and it will help to prevent having any type of energy crash. If you are feeling sluggish, I would just recommend getting out there for 10, 15, 30-minute walk. And then at the same time, like outside of just fat loss, like walking also improves your sleep. And it shows that people that walk more or get X amount of steps in a day, it shows that they sleep better, like especially if they're walking outside and they get natural sunlight during the day, or if you start your day with the natural sunlight and then you end your day with the natural sunlight, maybe doing a 10-minute walk in the morning and 10-minute walk at night, like that can dramatically improve your sleep. So if you guys struggle with falling asleep or you wake up groggy, get more steps in earlier in the day or just in your day in general. Okay. So you guys know that I love doing like some tactical takeaways that you guys can walk away from an episode and start implementing into your life like immediately. And one of those that I want for you guys to do is just set a step goal. Like if you're currently at 3,000 steps per day, please do not jump to like 10,000 steps. Just start by adding an additional like 1,000 or 2,000 steps like per week. So you don't have to do it per day. Like just let it tally up at the end of the week that maybe you were hitting 3 times 7 is 21,000 steps a week. So maybe you're hitting by the end of the week like 23 or 24,000. Or if you feel like you can do it, then add 1,000 to your day. Instead of 3,000, do 4,000 or do 5,000. For most people, like getting anywhere from, it doesn't have to be 10,000 steps either. It can be like 8,000 to 12,000 steps per day is like the sweet spot for improving your overall health and for fat loss. And a way that you can help get more steps in the day is just like get out there for a morning walk. Like take short walks throughout their day. Do a 10 to 15 minute walk before starting your day. Do a quick like 10-minute walk after you've had your lunch or your dinner, because as we just talked about, that improves and stabilizes your digestion and your blood sugar. And then a wind down walk that helps to lower your cortisol and it helps to improve your sleep. This is something I do all of the time, which is walking while I do other things. You will find me, if I'm ever on the phone with friends or family, I'm pacing my island out in my kitchen. And so when I'm taking phone calls, I'm walking or pacing. Or I love this, like park further away when you're going to Target or you're going to Whole Foods or you're going food shopping or whatever you're doing, running errands, like park further away because you're naturally getting in more steps. Even if it's cold, you're going to get warm in 30 seconds once you get inside. And then what I would say too as well is like if you guys work at a desk, like I have a walking pad. I don't know the brand right off the top of my head. I think it's a Renpho. I think it sounds about right. But you know, whenever sometimes I'll just pull it out, stick it underneath my desk and put my desk up because it's a standing desk too as well, and just start walking. So that's another recommendation. Or use walking as like a way to spend quality time with people. Go for a walk with a friend instead of meeting for coffee. And granted, like totally hear anyone that's like in the cold and that's the last thing y'all want to do right now. Like I feel you. I totally understand that. It's miserable outside. But once it does warm up, like just keep this in the back of your head. Like instead of meeting a friend for coffee, let's shift to the season of walking outside, right? All in all, guys, to say like with this episode today and what I've shared with you is walking is like the easiest, the most effective and the most sustainable tool for fat loss and for improving your overall health. And again, like if some of you guys are like, oh, I just, another workout, or I need to do more cardio, or I need to up my training to be a little bit more intense, or I need to sweat buckets after the gym. Like you don't need to do that. You just need to move more throughout the day. Okay. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like your progress isn't where you want it to be and you're constantly stressed out and you're unsure of how to burn more calories, and like without adding more to your workouts, without like what I just said, increasing the intensity or, adding another day, just start walking. You accomplishing fat loss, like there's a multitude of different ways that you can accomplish it. And as I said earlier, like nutrition and workouts they absolutely matter. But fat loss isn't always about doing more in the gym. It's about moving more throughout your day, and walking is something you can do daily for life. As always, I like to do, or here and there again in these episodes, is challenge you guys. Challenge yourself this week. Set a step goal. Take a 10-minute walk after your meals. Swap one of your cardio sessions for a long walk. If the weather's starting to get nicer, at least in Philly here. So can you get outside to do that? And I promise you guys, when you start prioritizing like moving more throughout the day and having more daily movement, and just not just relying on like your 1 hour gym session and you sit the rest of the day, I promise you will feel a difference. All right. So guys, if this resonated with you, please, I just ask that you share it with a friend who needs to hear it too as well. And like always, like if you're needing more help, if you're unsure how to take your fitness to the next level, check out WarriorBabe. Go to WarriorBabe.com. All right, my friends, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope you had some takeaways, some light bulbs go off. Until next time, my friends, keep crushing it and get those steps in. Peace out. Real quick, if this episode resonated with you or gave you the push that you needed, I'd love for you to pay it forward. Drop a quick rating and review, share the podcast with someone who might need it, and help me keep spreading the word. Your feedback not only helps the show grow, but it might just be the nudge someone else needs to kickstart their transformation. Thank you so much for your support.